We're pretty much ready to start wrapping up our code. So a few minor things here that you might have noticed, so what we had mentioned earlier as well. So whenever I open up the page, and let's refresh this one here, and we can see that as I shrink it down, we get our menu showing up. So there are a few issues there with where the menu is showing up, so sometimes it doesn't exactly appear. So this is a CSS issue. So let's add in some CSS here for the mini menu. And we're going to do display. So I want to always make sure that it's displayed as a block. And this is where I'm going to always make sure that it is displayed as a block by adding that flag of important. And also I want to float it over to the right. So let's take a look at this now, refresh. And so there we've got our mini menu. And now when we click it, we can go to the page that we're looking at. So everything looks like it's working pretty good, but we still need to add in a little bit more jQuery. And that jQuery is going to be in order to handle closing off of this menu once it's clicked. So let's add that in. And with jQuery, the thing is you can get, as we saw before, we can get values. So we can get values of any one of these objects that are available. And one of the ones that I can get is I can get the value of mini menu. I can get CSS values. So I'm going to show you first is what value we're able to see. So again, we need to identify the element that we want to access. It's going to be by ID, so I'm going to use the hash. So mini menu, and setting it up as a jQuery object with the $ in the front. The properties that I'm going to access are CSS. So we can get a value of the style property for a first element in the set that matched the elements or one or more. So basically what that means, if I had class, I'd get the value of the first CSS value. And I want to check to see what the value of display is. And I want to output it in the console. So let's take a look at how that works. So now when I'm on the page here, and whenever I'm resizing, or whenever, let's take a look at that. We can see that when we're resizing and we click it, so we can see that whenever anyone gets clicked, we should actually be outputting that console, and I think the problem there is that extra S. So let's refresh that again. And now we can see that the value of mini menu is none, as it's indicated down here. So I can make this a little bit bigger. So this is that same console there. We can see that whenever we click it, the value is none. But if we click it off the mini menu, we see the value is block. So now we can use that to apply some logic and apply some kind of dynamic functionality. We're going to check to see what the value of mini menu is, and depending on if the value is block, then we know that we've got an open menu and that we have to shut that menu down. So that's what we can apply down here by using a conditional statement. And with JavaScript, jQuery, we've got these conditional statements where we can apply if, and if something is true, so if the value of this is equal to block, which we know it will be when we're accessing it on the smaller screen, then we know that we just want to slide it up. So whenever this anchor, this nav list item with a hyperlink gets clicked, we want to shut that menu down. We're going to check to see if it's open, if it's a block, and if it is, then we're going to slide it up. So instead of doing slide toggle, we're going to use another built-in function, and these are all built in within jQuery. We're going to apply slide up because we only want to slide it up. We don't want to toggle it. So let's go back out to our page and see what happens. So now when we've got this mini menu, we know it's a block and it slides up. So now I can shut this and click it, and we see that we go to the page, shuts the menu right away. So sometimes when we're opening and shutting these menus, we can see sometimes it's a little bit quirky where our menu disappears and we're not hiding and showing it because we're relying on CSS. And CSS is, although it works well when we come in and we refresh it because we're loading the page, we might not have the functionality that we actually need within our one-page scroll page. So there is a fix to this, and I'm going to show you how to do this in the upcoming lesson. So that's coming up in the next lesson.